So to say, how does a person go from a partial legend in Boston to probably one of the most scary enforcers of his era? So today we're going to be talking about the very curious case of the very beautifully named Bruce Shoebottom. Now, Bruce Shoebottom was drafted 47th overall in the 1983 draft by the LA Kings after kind of a shortened major junior career. Now, he was born in Windsor, Ontario, and as a youth, he played in the 1978 Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament on the defense with a minor hockey squad from Mississauga. Now, 6'2", 200 pounds, considered one of the most interesting enforcers of his era. Now, he's during the April's '88 playoffs for the Sabres for Boston. He scored the only NHL playoff game in his career, and fans responded by throwing shoes on the ice. He also played one season for the Rochester Americans of the AHL, and no one's an enforcer, but you got to bear with me. I'm going to break it down a little bit, because it's a little bit of background that maybe a lot of people don't know about. He seemed to be a kind guy when he did the interviews, but later on in his enforcer career, he kind of went off the rails. Now, he broke in with the MTJHL's Toronto squad in '81 with 10 goals and 32 assists. Now, '82, in a shortened season, but a good defensive year, 4 points in 51 games. Now, with Peterborough in '83, he missed part of the season with a broken leg, injury suffered in December of '82, but the scouts were very high him in, which led him to be drafted 47th overall. Now, he played, again, 4 playoff games for Boston that went to the Stanley Cup Final in '88, but missed the final series versus Edmonton with an injury. Now, he played in 2 regular season games for Boston that went to the team that went to the Boston Stanley Cup playoffs in 1990, but was not with the team during the postseason. Now, he was traded by LA to Washington in October '85, but never played for the parent team. He did not re-sign with Washington for the '87 season and became an unrestricted free agent and was signed by Boston July 20, '87. Now, he was eventually signed with St. Louis as an unrestricted free agent on October 2nd, '91, but never played for the parent team. Now, he played again for New Haven, Binghamton of the AHL, Fort Wayne of the IHL, Maine of the AHL, Peoria of the IHL, again Rochester of the AHL, Oklahoma City of the CHL, and San Diego of the WCHL, and Austin of the WPHL. Now, he won the WCHL Taylor Cup in '96 and '97 with San Diego, and he also played on the IHL's regular season champion in Fort Wayne in '87. Now, in '96 and '97, he played on the WCHL regular season champ in that campaign. Now, he was also named an Oklahoma City player assistant prior to the '94 season, and held a job for the campaign. Now, this is where it gets interesting. He was suspended by the IHL during the '87 season for going into the stands to fight fans during Fort Wayne's January 24th '87 game at Salt Lake City. He also missed part of the '90 season with a 60-stitch laceration on the right side of his face, an injury suffered when Tom Martin accidentally skated over his face during Maine's November 29, '89 AHL game versus Binghamton. Then, he was eventually suspended by the AHL for 10 games during the '91 season for headbutting linesman Brad Whedon late in the first period of Maine's November 27, 1990 game versus Moncton. Some of the New Brunswick fans who were probably at that game can basically describe what happened better than I can. The incident took place after Shoebottom fought Moncton's Brian Marchment. Whedon and the game's other linesman, John Costello, stepped in to break up the fight, but Costello was unable to hold off Marchment, who continued to rain punches on Shoebottom. Trying to break free of Whedon, Shoebottom headbutted the linesman, necessitating a minimum 10-game suspension for abuse of an official. The suspension was later reduced to 5 games after the AHL reviewed videotape of the incident and determined that Shoebottom was actually trying to defend himself. Now, he was also arrested and jailed for one night in '91 after going to the fan in the stands to fight a fan during one of Maine's AHL games at Utica. Now, he eventually came out of retirement to play one game for Saint Georges de Beauce of the Quebec Senior League during the 2003 season. Now, he's also been heavily active in old-timers charity hockey during retirement, especially for the Boston Bruins alumni, where he's become kind of a folk hero. But here, where it gets weird. I forgot about this incident. I just provided as an information piece because I still don't understand it. This was on Hockey News and TSN. He exhibited one of the strangest outbursts and angriest ones in pro hockey history during Oklahoma City's March 23rd, 94 CHL game at Tulsa. The incident took place after Shoebottom tried to leave the penalty box to resume a fight with Mike McWilliam, who was on his way to the opposing penalty box after officials had broken up a fight between the two players. The attendant at the penalty box was unable to restrain an irate Shoebottom, and police intervened to protect the attendant from further harm. Shoebottom then headbutted, again, another headbutt, one of the policemen trying to restrain him, and it was only subdued after a blast of pepper spray and a chokehold, again, 6'2", 200-plus pounds. Shoebottom suffered severe shoulder and neck injuries in a bizarre outburst, and he was initially charged with assault, but Shoebottom was never tried since the charges were dropped. Now, the LA trade we're talking about for Brian Erickson on Halloween night in '85. Now, Shoebottom had talent, but like I said, did he have a temper? Yes. Did he deserve the bad press he got for those incidents? All he knows is this, ladies and gentlemen: the 1990s in relation to hockey are not like the 2010s and 20s, again, the last few years. But if you look at the rough stats, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see what I mean by enforcement. Let's just bear with me for a second here. He went back to the Petes again in 84 and 85. And he was, pretty quiet. He only had 143 minutes in 85. But 86 with Binghamton, 249 minutes. 87 with Fort Wayne, 309. 88 with Maine, 338. With Maine in 89, 44 games, 265. With Maine in 1990, 228. With Maine in 91, 238. With Peoria in 92, 234. Rochester next season, 253. Oklahoma City in 94, 236. With the Gulls in 96, 102. 97, 288. And with the Austin Ice Bats in 98, he only had 37 minutes in penalties. But with that last game of St. George, of course, he took a major. Not sure it was fighting. So final NHL totals: 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points in a regular season, 53 minutes in penalties, and only 35 games. But with Boston in the playoffs, 14 games, a goal, 2 assists for 3 points, and of course the 42 minutes in penalties in that 88 playoff run with the 1 goal, again throwing the shoes off the ice. Now, is he a folk hero? Is he an enforcer? Is he basically a durable player because he played 2 decades in total on the major, junior, and minor pro and NHL pro level? He lasted in an era where players like him were needed. I know in Maine, he's a legend down there, and he continues to be a legend in Boston, playing parts of 4 seasons, because everybody knows he's dedicated to what the alumni wants to do. And I can tell you for a fact that a Bruce Shoebottom wouldn't have been so temperamental, maybe would have had more success. But I have to give him credit. He was a tough nut, and playing in the AHL in the 1990s, especially in Maine, Maine was a very tough team in the league, or everybody had their number. They were sort of like the Quebec Nordiques of the AHL at the time. But that incident in Moncton, if anybody was at the game, my New Brunswick followers that saw that occur, please let me know what you thought you saw, because did he do it on purpose, or did he think that Marchment he thought he was headbutting Marchment? Anyway, he seemed to be headbutting a lot, that's what I'm saying. But with a name like Bruce Shoebottom, I mean, you never know. But I heard he's a very nice guy, so I don't want to get him riled up, because I don't want him tracking me down and maybe give me a friendly headbutt where he said, I didn't really mean it, but yes, I did. But for the Boston fans, they love him. So this is for the Boston fans that loved them a little bit of Shoebottom. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.